JK, LOL. That was pretty good.
You okay?
Oh, we're good.
Welcome to the Gearheads and Gasoline podcast, where we dive into the high-octane world of market-leading shop owners, shop employees, and automotive enthusiasts from the aftermarket, restoration, performance, and racing industries. So strap in as we take you on an awesome journey with our guests as they share their real-life stories, lessons learned, business advice, and unfiltered insights to help you beat the school of hard knocks. Gearheads and Gasoline, fueling your success.
Hello, everyone. I'm Barry Alt with Motorhead Digital, and my co-host is Annette Bauer with Annette Bauer Creative.
What's up, y'all?
We're thrilled to have Jason Chandler from Automotive Direct joining the Gearheads and Gasoline podcast today. Jason is the marketing director for AMD, where he has been at the forefront of transforming how classic car enthusiasts and automotive restorers engage with high-quality auto parts suppliers. With a keen eye for market trends and a passion for the automotive restoration industry, Jason has played a pivotal role in AMD's growth and reputation as a leader in providing premium body panels and sheet metal for classic car restorations. Jason's strategic vision not only drives sales, but also fosters a community around the AMD brand, classic auto restorations, and the joy of driving a piece of automotive history. We're pumped to have Jason on board, so let's dive in.
Jason, so as an icebreaker, we ask a different kind of question just to kind of get the whole podcast started. And we want to know, what's your favorite drink?
That's tough because, I mean, we'll get into this a little bit later, but favorite drink? Adult beverage, I'm going to go with PBR.
Oh.
The trashier the beer, the better for me. Just the way I was built. I'm not an IPA guy. Something nice and classic is perfect.
I love it.
Cool.
Although I have a love for, fine wine. I've been through Napa Valley. I've done a lot of like agave tours in Mexico and this, that, and the other. But PBR.
That's your go-to.
Awesome. My go-to this morning is Gearhead coffee because it's been a struggle just getting to this point in the morning.
Right. Some days better than others. This is on the list somewhere.
This is a rough one.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get started. Jason, how did you get started? How did you come to work at Automotive Direct?
It's kind of an interesting story. So, give a little background. I've been in the automotive industry since I was 21, and I was doing aftermarket, like mail order sales in the early 2000s, late 90s, and I'd worked with a friend there that kind of got me into graphics and marketing, and we had kind of followed our career paths for several years, and then I went into the restaurant industry. So I was in that and really, really enjoyed that, but the hours and the demand and all that wasn't really what I wanted, not really for my family situation and quality of life. It just became a burdensome. And my friend Brian, he called me one day out of the blue. It was actually New Year's Eve. And he's like, "Hey, man, what are you doing?" I'm like, "Oh, we're just hanging out, having an adult beverage, about to rein in the new year." He's like, "Well, are you looking for a job?" I said, "No, I'm pretty content where I'm at." He said, "Well, come up here and talk to us." So I did. I went up there, and I didn't know it was a job interview. They didn't know it was a job interview, but one thing led to another, and I made the transition to AMD. It started off just really getting their online presence and their catalog and website to a place where it needed to be.
Right.
And that started with product photography. And, the rest is just kind of history for me.
Cool. How long have you been there?
I think March officially was 6 years.
Oh,
so
wow.
not too terribly long.
Nice. I
Cool.
can absolutely resonate with the fact that, you hit on my wheelhouse, right? You like how important having professional photography is, capturing the products and capturing the essence of what your brand is. I could not emphasize that more. So I think that's awesome.
Yeah, it's really a thing that a lot of companies miss out on, really. And we've taken to the next level here, and we'll get into more of that later. But being able to show your product to a customer that's across the country or can't come into your local location is huge.
Yeah.
Oh,
And show it in a manner where they can see the ins and outs is important.
oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. We've connected with Annette. If I need photography out in her area, I can call her, right? I have a
Yeah.
lot of clients that we're building websites and they'll send us photos. Either they're postage stamp off the internet or they're a
Right.
stock photo. And I go, no, 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 we're not going to use that because that's
Right.
just not going to represent you properly, right? So we get our photographer that we have out here. If it's local, we work with them, or they get a photographer. That's huge.
Right.
Whether
Yeah.
your product, whether it's products, or whether it's a service, or your build shop, the video and photography is huge these days, right?
Yeah. And keeping it authentic to your brand is huge, right? Like Barry, you're saying, don't use stock photography. And I understand there's always a place for that, right? There's always a spot where you're just in a bind and you need to use product photography because that's what you have and, that's what you're working with. But in all cases, if you can budget in to have authentic professional photography and videography reels created that are going to be authentic to your brand, then that speaks volumes to your client base.
Well, one thing too, yeah. And when I talk about stock photography, it there's two different stock photographies. There's the stock photography you get at a stock photography company, and then there's stock photography that if you're working selling parts and stuff that the parts company
Sure.
pay photographers to take, that's fine, right? But
Right.
other stock photography and your design of your website and other things that's not good. And definitely do not go and search on Google to find photos because
No. Oh
you're
my
gonna get
gosh. No.
spanked big time.
Yeah.
We haven't, but we've heard horror stories of what business owners getting sued
Yeah.
because they want, hey, I just go and grab it off a Google search. No, don't do
No.
that.
Yeah. That's a big no-no.
Yeah,
Yeah. Intellectual property rights is a real thing, and that's something people need to be aware of.
yeah,
True.
for
Yeah.
sure.
True.
Cool, Jason. You answered my next question on how did you get started, how long you've been in the industry. So let's talk about success. What's your main role? How long you've been doing? We talked about that for six role, and I said that in bio. But give us a little more understanding of your main role at AMD, and also I'll add this other question: is when did you feel that you made it or were successful for yourself or what you're doing for AMD? Did you feel like hey, we got this kind of moment, right?
Oof. Yeah. I don't know if you ever quite get to that full fulfillment point or not, but I mean, my role here at AMD is marketing director. So I oversee all the branding for social media, web, print, public relations,
Mm-hmm.
and everything that's involved with. If you see AMD in the world, that's coming through this office,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a lot of aspects to worry about, but it's a great fulfillment. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. I'm still thinking about when did you feel like you were successful. I mean, for me, more of that is, it's a sense of fulfillment and purpose in what I'm doing. It wasn't really about reaching like a specific milestone or achievement, but rather realizing, am I making a difference? Am I contributing to something greater than myself?
Mm-hmm.
That kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. Cool.
And that
Yeah.
goes on a lot of different aspects, whether it's if I'm working with one of our dealers or distributors, am I able to help them fulfill what they're trying to do? Or if I'm working with a small shop that might be just doing a restoration out of their garage, kind
Right.
of on a intermediate level, am I helping them?
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah. Are you
right.
making an impact? Are you contributing somewhere?
Right.
Yeah,
Exactly,
absolutely.
helping them move forward, right? With even just advice, right? Whether it's even, you know, hey, you got this panel, do this, or, we don't sell that, but you might want to talk to this company over here, right?
Right.
But okay, so speaking of success, I wanted to back up here. What were the business habits that contributed to your success, and also in regards to success, I'm aware of a shift in marketing strategy for Autometal Direct, but I suspect many others are not. Could you elaborate on the AMD garage that been seeing a lot, and also the fact that I understand I have some new stickers from AMD that don't say Autometal Direct on them anymore. Tell us about that
Oh, sure.
and about
Yeah,
the
yeah.
success, right? So,
Right. So really, as our business has evolved, we started off basically in Mopar sheet metal. But before we could get that program going in the early days, we were introducing what we call in house as X parts.
Mhm.
It's parts that are developed by other manufacturers that meet our standards or are the best solutions that we can provide. So we developed the Mopar stuff and we were selling GM stuff like for your Chevelle or Camaro, Nova, that kind of thing. Really got into doing our own tooling for sheet metal on a Mopar B body, whether it's a Coronet or Roadrunner, Charger, and that led us into a direction where we want to offer more than just metal.
Mhm.
So we need a way to kind of tie in a more encompassing marketing strategy than auto metal direct. And even, we were known for sheet metal. We've put in a lot of branding and effort into making sure that our products are the best that we can provide, best on the market, constantly adding to our reputation of having high quality panels.
Mhm.
So really to bring that full circle is once you get the panels on, you need other restoration parts. And we can provide those parts at the same high quality that we've been known for our body panels. But not your natural reaction is auto metal direct, they just have metal.
yeah.
So we need to kind of separate ourselves from that.
Right,
So
right.
definitely a shift in brand with the AMD. Most people know what AMD is, so if you focus on that and try to get the word out that, hey, by the way, we have all these other things too.
Yeah, yeah, you'll see a lot in this year and moving forward. We'll use hashtags more than metal
Nice.
with our brand ambassador focusing on more than metal, more interior parts, glass, gaskets, seals, and products that are high quality that you can trust.
Yeah, awesome, awesome. So that explains that because saw Eddie down in Florida and he gave me some stickers and he pointed out that didn't say Autometal Direct anymore. I'm like, huh, okay. Um, let's discuss challenges and opportunities. First, what do you perceive as the most significant challenges and opportunities for parts manufacturers and suppliers like AMD, and how is AMD adapting to industry changes?
Man, I tell you what, there's a lot of aspects that go into that. Um, you know, Challenges and opportunities are kind of a repeat of history, whether you have supply chain issues or raw materials that are fluctuating day to day, and those challenges will always be there. And really, kind of setting yourself up, knowing that will help you get over those challenges.
Hmm.
Gotcha.
A
And
little.
as far as like the opportunities for parts manufacturers and suppliers like us, I really think that embracing new technology is key to kind of like adapting to industry changes. So if, back to the body panels, if we were still making actual molds and dies for body panels the same way we did 15 years ago, the cost is more now. The tooling's not as precise as it can be now. So getting a better end product through technology advances really is how we're going to approach that.
Oh, cool. The one of the questions that I didn't have in there, but it came up yesterday. How did COVID and the supply chain? How did things change? Because we heard yesterday that before COVID, people were like they had all this inventory they couldn't sell, and then you had COVID supply chain issues that you mentioned, and
Right.
but now you have issues where you can't keep stuff in stock. Part of that's still because of supply chain. How is that affecting AMD? And how have you seen things change?
Well, really, on as far as the whole pandemic, and I think it really did a lot of different things to the industry for us, where you had a lot of people with more time on their
Mm-hmm.
hands that were getting more involved with restorations themselves. They were looking for better quality products, better stuff that was in stock, and we had enough forethought here where it's like, okay, if we have supply chain issues, let's just double down, get as much stuff as we can produced, and look at, okay, are we sourcing this steel from Japan?
Mm-hmm.
Can we get it from Germany? Do we get it from Germany? We get it from Japan? And really broadening our supply chain in the process.
Yeah,
Cool.
like
So you
not just hunting from one basket anymore. Like kind of
Right.
diversifying
Exactly.
where you're getting supply from.
right and be
Yeah,
very
that made a
forward
huge
thinking,
difference.
right? Actually
Right.
investing in your future by actually maybe stocking up on certain things, right? That it's going to take a little longer to sell, so you have higher inventory, but you're not going to run into that issue of we don't have that, we won't have it for 6 months.
Well,
Yeah.
and doing that little pre-planning, right? Because, post pandemic, there is no such thing as rush ordering anymore. Like it's you can pay for it. Sure, they'll take your money, but that doesn't mean you're going to get it any quicker.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. So on the challenges and opportunities, I wanted to ask you. You and I had a conversation. I've called you a number of times in the last quarter, and I'm working. You say I'm got to get these catalogs out. I'm working on the catalogs. How challenging is it to keep those catalogs updated, and how significant are catalogs today in the digital age? Me as a digital marketing guy, really like, who uses catalogs anymore? But they're digital. There's lots of opportunities to do cool stuff with digital catalogs. How are you addressing that? How are you bringing AMD into the future with that kind of stuff?
Well, really, it's been a bear for us because historically we haven't had a great process on producing, updating, and actually putting out a good quality
Mm-hmm.
catalog in a timely manner.
Mm-hmm.
So we've kind of set aside a couple years ago. It's like, okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to stick to it and push forward and get a good quality catalog out and show what we have to offer. And that kind of goes back into the rebranding where, you know, AMD Garage, Auto Metal Direct, we offer all these different restoration parts, but how do we show that to everyone? So
Right.
our strategy kind of involves like a hybrid approach where we're combining like a depth and reliability of printed catalogs with the accessibility and you know just really bring it in as a digital tool as well. So if you go to our website, you can download the catalog,
Mm-hmm.
you can flip through it, you can click on each part number specifically, and it goes right to the website of that part. But we also involve like exploded views. So if you're new to like restoring a Chevy truck, a square body, like an 85, you can go on our website. You could go to the catalog, see an exploded view of, say, the front end, and you'd see what parts are direct relation to the fender. If you need this brace, this bracket. And that's a little bit harder to interpret on a website. So that's kind of our first
So that's a big
stepping
benefit
stone.
of a catalog, right? You can do the exploded views. You can, in the new catalogs, right? I think you do flipping book or something like that, where you
Yeah.
can drill down and link to different pages. So it's not just a PDF. There's some
Interaction to it.
interaction. Yeah.
Today's podcast is sponsored by NetBauer Creative. At a NetBauer Creative, we understand the power of visual storytelling in transforming brands and driving growth, from capturing the essence of your products and services to showcasing the unique solutions they offer. Our professional imagery and reels help bring your brand to life.
Yeah. So I have a
Yeah,
quick
it's
question for you, Jason, going off of that. And I do marketing myself. I've done marketing for 25 years. Um, Looking at how the digital age has changed, what we see in print, listening to what you guys are doing to help kind of reinvent, where your sourcing is and how that's helping your client base with catalogs. Do you guys utilize the benefits of like QR coding to maybe not just drive your customers to like your website, but maybe do you do any trainings that you could, drive them to through a QR code?
Yeah, we implement quite a few of those, whether it's in like magazine print articles, flyers we pass
Nice.
out at shows, banners that we put up at different events. We utilize that quite often, and it kind of boils back to like my thought process is we want to cater to the preferences of all of our customers. Whether you have, somebody who's a little more old school, they want a paper catalog, or they have it sitting on a coffee table in their shop, and a young kid, he's just going to hit the QR code and go right to that page.
Right. Right.
And you talk about catering to different market groups, right? You have the baby boomers that are still out there working stuff. Some of them aren't even on the internet, right?
Right.
Then you have the young people that we want to see young people come in and get into this industry. And I know this isn't where I was going, but I wanted to ask you, how are you seeing that as far as younger people using your website and your catalog, and actually younger people? I'm saying early 20s to 35. Are you seeing more of those?
Quite a few.
We have, a friend, Thomas Dickerson, is building trucks and stuff, and he's a young guy. You're seeing a lot of young people his age coming into the restoration and build market.
Yeah, we actually get quite a few. It's not. It's for our industry. I don't think we're hitting a large enough of that demographic. We do see it. Like right off the top of my head, I've got an influencer, if you will, Kale. He is cam racing on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, whatever, and he's building. He built a Duster. He's doing a '68 Charger, and he's under 25, doing all the metalwork himself.
Nice.
He's making it, like a non-traditional kind of pro touring car, and I'm seeing more and more of that. Whether it's in the truck market and the car market, it's really cool to see.
That's
That's
awesome.
awesome, because there was a time in the last few years where we're all going, is this restoration performance market isn't going to die with people as they age out, right? As they get out of it, things like that. So, Jason, can you share some business advice on how you market AMD and what you've learned from the marketing school of hard knocks? One question I have is, I've observed Autometal Direct at various enthusiast-focused industry-related events such as the SEMA show, and have seen mentions in print, TV. Can you assess how these marketing opportunities contribute to overall awareness, and also how does that translate into sales, and what channels do you find are the most effective? I was down in Richard Petty's garage with you last year, and you were
Yeah.
telling me I post 65 times a day across, I think that was 65, because my eyes just went, what? Across all your social media platforms, you had kind of a goal. But, there's also the school of hard knocks is, what did you learn that worked, what didn't work? And what platform, we're seeing you all over the place, but what's working the best?
Well, I mean, really, we kind of do a blanket approach with what we have. We're a skeleton crew. It's I've got a full time product photographer. I've got a guy that helps me with SEO and the catalog, and a full time event coordinator. And we kind of hit it from all angles. Where if you're looking at, do I do shows, or do I focus on social media, or am I looking at my ROAS on Google content, influencer marketing, video marketing? The answer is yes. You really got to kind of hit a little bit of everything and become your own marketing agency to an extent, or until you get to a point where you can, work with somebody like Motorhead Digital that can, get you to the place where you want to go next.
Mm-hmm.
I
Cool.
mean, for us, we do a ton of shows every year where we're doing, I don't know, somewhere in the neighborhood 30, 35 events a year
Dang.
minimum.
Wow.
Whether it's here locally, if it's here at our location, most of it's on the road where we go from, like Dino's in Arizona up to Carlisle, doing some of the national events there and everything in between.
Wow.
That's a lot.
As
That's a ton of events.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just saw Eddie in Florida recently. So, and with that said, I mentioned that you frequently do social media posts. You feature shops in those posts, individuals utilizing your products. Do you directly engage with the users of your products, or primarily with specific brand advocates? And how does that help your marketing effort? Because there's people out there just saying, "Hey, I've seen a lot of your stuff," that they're just showing what they're doing. I don't know for sure if they're just spontaneously doing that, or
Right.
if they're all brand advocates. Is it kind of a mix? And what seems to work well for you as far as your social media and how that sharing their stuff out helps
Right.
AMD and them in turn sometimes?
Right. Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, direct engagement, and really, I approach it as, break it down to where social media, you need to be social, right? So direct engagement with your users is a crucial aspect of our social media strategy, and making it a point to interact with our followers, where we respond to comments, or sharing user generated content, whether it's somebody that's on our influencer marketing program, or it's someone that just got a order in. They're really excited to have new parts for their truck or car,
Right.
and sharing that. We do it in two folds, whether it shows our audience that, yeah, we're real, we're people are actually using our stuff in real life and they're happy and excited about it. But it also gives, somebody that's really excited to work on their truck or car a platform to say, hey, look, I'm part of the community.
Yeah, to
These
have a
guys love
voice.
it. You're right.
Yeah, that's huge. We talked yesterday a lot about the automotive space. Our guest yesterday was in the drag racing and motorsports and stuff like that. But it's a community where we all become friends. You and I, I mentioned you yesterday. We got connected at Richard Petty's space a little bit before that, and we've been fast friends since. It's interesting
Yeah.
how because we all talk the same language. We get it,
Right.
whether
Right.
we're doing marketing or we're actually building the cars or whatever. But that face-to-face interaction, so going all of those events does help as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yes, and it's great too. Like from, from a business aspect, if I'm trying to push marketing and I want that, direct one-on-one connection with customers and clients and end users of our products, it's great. But it's also an opportunity to, you know get more social media content while you're there, and really kind of get two birds with one stone.
Cool, cool. Got one more question on this, and we're going to hand it off to Annette for some other questions for you. But what role do you feel social media digital plays in building awareness of your products and attracting new customers? Is it what percentage of it is it a huge percentage, or compared to like events and your YouTube social, but anytime you get mentioned on a TV show or a Village show or anything like that?
Yeah, that's great. I think for us, really, content is king, but context is like God, right? So, like the value of your content, like really remains undiminished if you're kind of tailoring the content to fit like the platform, the audience, and and taking into consideration, social media gives you a platform to directly interact with your audience at that moment in time immediately.
Right.
You don't have to lay out an ad and wait 3 months before it's printed, or pay $250,000 to a TV network and wait for them to run it at 2 a.m. on a Monday morning. You're like, social media is
Immediate
where everyone.
gratification in some
Right,
cases. Yeah.
right.
If you're using it right, it definitely has the power to give you that immediate gratification versus, like you're saying, you've invested the time, the back end, and now you're just impatiently waiting, right, for some kind of return.
Right. Yeah, and like kind of what Barry had pointed out before, when I kind of gave you my goal for a daily posting, 65 pieces of content. If you boil it down to, okay, I'm going to take this piece of content and maybe rework it for each platform and each audience specifically. It's one piece of content that you're going to post maybe 6 times. That brings that number down a little bit more approachable.
Yeah, that makes sense, because I can say when you said that, I go, what? But
Right, so
I
it'll make
wanted to
sense.
ask, with that said, what platform, right? Because, when you're posting to 5 or 6 platforms, right? What platform in the auto restoration build space do you feel is the, you got your number one, right? I'm assuming I do. So what do you feel is the best platform for this industry?
God, man, that's tough. I mean, to boil it down to one platform, it really depends on who you're trying to reach.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Okay.
for us, we get a significant amount of, man, I don't know. That's really tough because I get a lot of the guys that are looking for paper catalogs on Facebook. I get a lot of the younger people that want to build up their truck on TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
But I get great interaction with, maybe dealing with smaller shops or dealing with distributors on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really just kind of thinking that out and, testing the waters to see what works best for who.
So it's where your demographic is. Every SEMA talk I've ever done, we talk about understanding your target market, right?
Right.
What ultimately, what's that one person that you would like to work with everywhere? Now, sometimes that one person is 25, sometimes that
Right.
one person is 55, and they
Right.
use different platforms, and you have to understand that, right? And
Right.
some businesses, all your customers are on Instagram, but in your
Right.
case, they're on different platforms. So you have to think about each platform and how you post, how you word things, what you're posting, things like that. So that's great advice. I was surprised by that, because in our case, and I'm a different business,
Right.
and you answered the question, most of our target market is on Instagram.
Right.
But we do use, Instagram and LinkedIn and things like that. So, all right, that's awesome.
Man, yeah, that's super
Yeah.
cool. I got to tell you, Jason, like I am a huge fan of the fact that you, unlike many clients that I've come across and businesses that I've dealt with, have truly embraced the power and where those idiosyncrasies are that bring value to your brand, utilizing social media, utilizing professional photography, really stretching the legs of your brand. A lot of companies are just missing the mark, and you guys really sound like you're on it. Clearly, by your volume on Instagram, you guys have got over 51,000 followers. So you're doing it right, right? Like there's so many things that I could just sit and like idolize of what you guys are doing that I would love for so many of my clients to do. So like kudos to you guys, go man go, because I just think that that's badass.
Thank you.
Yeah, so keep it up. That's very cool.
Yeah, yeah. I tell you, when I first started, you know, the AMD was really in a having some growing pains and needing to get to the next level. And when I started, I really just tackled the product photography, like I was saying, and I went around the warehouse with a palette, with a box, with a white sheet, and just started taking photos.
Yeah.
And then now, we've been in this new location, a few years now, and I specced out our whole. I've got a entire, product photography studio with an infinity wall and
Uh-huh.
360 imaging, and you just got to keep growing and kind of, thank you. I appreciate the compliment.
Yeah, for real. I mean, and like even those little things that you're doing, like I think the best way that I could surmise what I'm hearing that you're doing is that you are 100% present in your brand, right? And there's a lot of businesses, a lot of companies out there that just kind of half-ass it. Like they don't put a lot of value in it. They're like, oh, we'll grow here. That's not really where we're going to get our value from. And you guys have really kind of latched on to where all of those benefits can come in and multiply for you. Just obviously by the sheer fact that you guys do so many events, which is just mind blowing to me. As somebody who has done events my entire career, I know what goes into that. So the fact that you
Yeah.
guys do that many is just like that's incredible.
Yeah, and
Go ahead, Barry.
yeah, I wanted to mention, and you know the difference between brand awareness and marketing,
Yes.
okay, and image and things like that. There's a lot of businesses that kind of squish them together,
Yeah.
and that's not good.
Yeah. This has been super awesome. I'm loving it. As we kind of like look forward and talk about, all these different things that you guys are actively doing, will you share with us some recommendations, tips, advice, whatever, kind of resonates with you to help other businesses, people coming into the industry to avoid some of these like hard knock situations, right? Like learn from your mistakes kind of thing.
Really, man, that's tough because you know part of the hard knock experiences is where you really get your most growth.
Yeah.
And to kind of, I don't know, I don't focus a whole lot on that. So I'm like, well, let me see here. It's, I guess, don't get caught up too much in, oh, this didn't work, just scrap the whole thing. You've got to try different things. Like, we post so much on, like, here recently, the last few months on Facebook. Been trying a lot of different posts, whether I'm doing memes or asking audience questions, putting out, new products, whether it's a post on, you know, heck, it could be anything. And seeing what works and when it works and when it doesn't, and testing the waters. Don't be afraid to fail. If it's not working, great. Try something
What do
else.
they say? Fail forward kind of thing, and you just
Right.
don't look at that as a bad thing. I can say I love your questions you've been asking.
Today's podcast is sponsored by Motorhead Digital. At Motorhead Digital, we are digital marketing experts for your automotive aftermarket, restoration, performance, race, and restyling shop. We help you supercharge your shop's website, social media, and entire online presence to attract those badass customers you're looking for.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that I tell, like I've told my kids this forever, right? And I tell any of my clients In fact, this is exactly how Barry and I got introduced. Was you, just as you said, Jason, like you can't be afraid to fail, right? Because in order to succeed, you absolutely 100% have to fail. Like that is just part of the equation, right? You've got to fail in order to succeed. And the goal is, like Barry mentioned, is failing forward, right? So that you're always making forward momentum, always making forward progress. So you kind of answered that question, which may already answer my next question, but maybe you have a little bit of a spin on it, is what would your advice be for your younger you?
Man, I tell you, really just for the younger youth, you know, Barry knows this, and AMD's been heavily involved in a program called Operative Talent. And it's an initiative where we're trying to get more kids involved in the automotive industry.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess my best advice is if you're a young person, you're not sure what you want to do, man, the automotive industry has a ton of opportunities, whether it's in logistics and shipping and warehouse or marketing, or, it's not just turning a wrench. And,
Right.
you know, exposing yourself to different opportunities on something you may love is really going to be a key in deciding if you want to make something a career,
Yeah.
if you want to make it a hobby, and really getting that experience is real world. It's not necessarily in a college classroom.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a huge one, right? Like, so some of my clientele are in the construction industry, and some of the things that we are constantly battling and looking at is getting that younger generation involved in a circumstance where they have more value in the trades, right? Where they don't have to incur these tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of student loan debt to oftentimes come out and do a position that didn't have anything to do with their degree. Right.
Right.
So I think that you're hitting it right on the head, is that there are so many opportunities for younger generations to come in and kind of find their niche and their passion in so many different, angles and facets. So I think that that's absolutely phenomenal that you're, like doing that, and you guys are kind of spearheading something of that nature.
Yeah, we got involved with Operative Talent last year, and because we wanted to we're very focused on youth engagement, and we thought, we were like, wow, look at what Operative Talent's doing. One thing that we want students to know, or young people that get into the industry, is when you start at a shop or any business, you might start out sweeping the floor.
Mm-hmm.
You got to accept that and learn and move up and just stay very focused on the goal, right? If you're an awesome welder, and your first job is working at a fab shop or something, they're probably going to have you sweeping the floor and stamping out metal and things like that, and not working on a really cool build or whatever until they have you understand what your skill set is, things like that. And so many shops have told me, especially smaller shops, they just don't have the time to handhold.
Yeah.
Which I'd hope they'd make the time and figure out how to do that, because that's how we educate people on the OG, on the job training kind of thing. But yeah, so that's just a little tidbit of what I've been told and what I've seen. So many kids say want to be the CEO straight out of college. It's like, it doesn't work that way, guys.
Yeah.
So
That's it. I mean, it's one thing I try to, when I talk to shops that are looking for people to hire, it's like, don't discount somebody that doesn't know what you're doing.
right.
You may not be a teacher, you may not be able to hold hands, but there's a lot more people out there that can be students and just pay attention. Being around it is enough to where you can pick up a skill or trade and see if that's something you want to pursue further.
100%. That is 1000% how I have earned my place of where I am in the automotive industry. Like, I work on race cars, like purpose-built race cars, and I learned it all by just being present, being observant, and asking a lot of questions.
And doing what you're told, right? Digging in, getting dirty, doing things that you may not like, but learning from it, right?
right?
Yep,
Yeah, I
absolutely.
mean, I can count just as many good things I've learned just paying attention and being around different operations that have been great, and others that have been exactly how not to do something. You can learn both ways, right?
Yep, absolutely. Perfect. Well, gosh, Jason, you have given us so much incredible stuff to just chew on and like just resonate with, which has been awesome. So, as we begin to wrap up today's podcast, we want to recap some of these lessons and advice that you've shared with us. Some of those things that I have taken away from you is I absolutely love that, again, you guys are very seemingly proactive versus reactive because that's super important in our market. That you guys have really figured out again how to capture that essence of where the value is in social media. A lot of companies make the mistake of, and I will tell you, I'm 100% guilty in this myself, just because I feel like I'm being pulled in a billion directions, is
Right.
that you guys are building content for each different platform because you understand that each platform has its own voice, it has its own demographic, it has, value in each one of those areas. So that's incredible, just flat out.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that, for audience to really kind of understand is that your statement is like, I wrote that down. I'm like, oh, that is gold. Content is king, context is God. Like, that's amazing because that's legitimate. Like, there's so many companies that we deal with and so many companies that we see putting content out there that don't really put the context behind it, right? They don't put value in that. And I think the fact that you guys have really touched on that, honed on that, is just fantastic. So for me, you've like shared some really good golden nuggets.
Yeah, that actually, I wrote that same one down. I did write one other one down. It's social media. Be
Yeah.
social.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Yep.
it's that
100%.
simple, right?
Yep.
It's the
Yeah.
KISS method. I mean, really, keep it simple, right?
Yeah. You like I've come across so many situations though where just companies, they social media is just it's just something we'll get to. There's not a lot of value in it. It's just money we're wasting because they're looking for that 100% direct ROI, right? But social media isn't like, yes, it gives you some immediate gratification in terms of your engagement and your, context and comments,
Right.
but you still have to put in the time, you still have to make the investment, and you still have to be willing to keep working at it.
Yeah. And one thing I've talked about a number of times at the SEMA show about social media, because we have clients saying, look, social media is dying. We don't have the time to do that. Look, there's a book out there that I bought 100 years ago called Guerrilla Marketing. And one of the things I remember that it talked about magazines and things like that, but people see your brand about the fifth to seventh time they
Mm-hmm.
really actually see it. They've seen it
Mm-hmm.
all along subconsciously. They don't really act on it till the ninth or 10th time, right?
Right.
And with social media, we tell our customers when we're managing social media or talking to them about managing, we're going to be consistent. We're going to post this many times a week on average. This is the kind of stuff we're going to post. We kind of leave it in their hands to interact with their customers and educate them on that. But just even if you don't have a ton of followers, or actually, I heard something the other day, followers that companies that have 5,000 ish followers actually get more interaction. I think it was, or something like that. But um, don't worry about like, I only got 3 likes on that. People saw
Right.
it.
Right.
It's been seen. So real quick, before we sign off here, I do have something. You did an awesome job at filling out your intro. And we asked you a question. Okay. I'm going off script here, Annette. um,
Clearly.
yeah. So um, we asked you a question, what do you do for fun? I want to know more about 2 things. I want to know more about that classic 1966 Chevy C10 that I posted a while back about my need for one now because I'm hanging around with truck people way too much. And my
Yeah.
wife is
No
not
such
happy
thing.
with that. And the other thing was that you're an avid firearms enthusiast and you have 2 right here. So talk to
Yep.
us about that.
Well, I tell you, I'm kind of an amateur firearms enthusiast. Um, my brother was in the military. Our uncle's in the military. Grandfather's in the military. So there's kind of that, you know, love for shooting and blowing up stuff. I guess that's where it came from.
Right.
So to actually get a little more involved in that, and and the sport of it has been really pretty cool.
Mhm.
And I'm I want to commit more time to it. I just at this point it's just not been a big priority. But man, I tell you, anytime I get to go to the range, try out my new SIG, or me and my brother building a PSA just so we have matching an AR platform that matches or something like that
I
has been
love it.
really
So
pretty cool.
when you're ready to talk, I shoot USPSA competition with my SIG.
Oh
So
yeah,
I'm not doing as much this year because I'm busy, but it
right.
takes a lot to get into it. And if you're going to do it, better open up your wallet.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
that's no
Well,
lie.
Yeah, I've noticed that my brother is a bad influence. Whether I mean, he's in the triple digits of how many firearms he owns, and
Yeah.
I'm just now pushing like 10. I don't know. I'm not. It's not like a race or competition, but you get the bug, man. It's kind of like tattoos. If you get one, you want them all.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
100% correct.
We shoot 3-gun here too, and that's where it gets expensive, right? With your rig
Yeesh.
and everything. But what about that C10? Tell us a little bit about that. We do have a little bit of time here.
Sure, sure. I'll make it short and sweet, man. That has been one of the greatest purchases I've done. Like I bought this truck from a guy that had got it and put it under a carport and didn't do anything with it. So I was like, okay, cool. He got it from a guy out of New Jersey, and the story goes that this was an old circle track push truck. So it had somewhat of a race history, if you will. I thought that was kind of cool. It's got this big gnarly custom bumper where they took some angle iron and welded it to the front bumper so they could push race cars off the track.
Nice.
And I am literally this morning I loaded up the cab to go to Rockford Custom Paint and Body to start getting some metal work done. We're going to do some tech articles within the Garage Media and doing some video stuff with it, along with another secret project I can't really reveal yet. But
Ooh,
the truck's in like full disarray now. I've got the bed and the chassis at the house. I've got the cab loaded up on Eddie's trailer now. It's going out to the paint and metal work. So man, I'm full in it, but I love it. I love driving that truck. The camaraderie within the C10 community is
Oh,
fantastic, and
yeah.
it couldn't have been better timing when I got that thing.
Yeah,
cool,
I think
cool.
that's awesome. We've had several different events out in my area, and I actually was able to get published in Street Trucks magazine
Oh
from
yeah,
like an event that we did where we had a whole C10, a group of people come in, and man, talk about the artistry. It was so
yeah.
beautiful, like so cool.
I love that stuff, man. It's great.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So one thing I didn't mention when you're talking about brand, I just want to mention this about brand advocates. So AMD blessed us with we're doing a 69 Dart. Is it? Yeah, it's 69 Dart. I can't remember. There's a
Yeah.
name to it.
Art Swinger.
Swinger. That's it.
Yeah, yeah.
That's Key's car. So we're doing a drag and drive project that AMD is majorly helping us with,
That's
and
awesome.
we'll be doing more videos. We talked, Jason talked about those videos of people working on stuff, Motor Digital, and we had a pallet come in on the back of a truck on a hill. We had to get it off a lift gate, and the guy had a pallet jack rolling it down a gravel driveway to get it to the shop. So that was fun shooting that video and just how are we going to get this off the truck?
Right.
So Jason, we are going to be, and everybody watching, we're going to be doing some blog content on that too, that build, and some, more videos as we go along. And actually, we're actually in the process, go back to the operative talent thing, talking to local tech schools here about possibly doing some of the sheet metal work on that and welding and things like that.
Great.
To get some youth involved. So that's pretty cool. So, all righty.
Very cool.
Very cool.
So, we like to do this really cool thing, Jason, where we kind of do a speed round. So I'm going to ask you a variety of questions. Don't think too long. Actually, I just want whatever comes to your mind first. And so let's hit it. What is your favorite race driver, team, hot rod, muscle car, or truck?
Oh, man. All right. Top of my head, 71 CUDA.
Cool.
Favorite muscle car.
I can love that. Totally love that. Do you have a favorite racetrack, automotive event, or car show?
God, man, that's tough. Top of my head, I'm thinking NASCAR, Bristol, Tennessee, just like small circle track. But man, I really love road tracks, like Sebring or Road Atlanta's here nearby. And
that's awesome. That is awesome.
God, I could go on for days with that too.
I love it. Camping or hotel?
Oof, depends on who's coming with me.
Oh,
I prefer camping, but if the wife's with me, yeah, we're probably going to hotel.
So funny, like segue from that. My husband is always like, because I'm like, oh yeah, I want to go camping. He was like, yeah, you mean glamping? He was all, I don't see you sleeping in the dirt anywhere.
Right. You bring a hatchet and maybe some food, and that's all you got. Let's go. I'm cool with
it. Favorite type of music?
Ooh, that's tough, man. I'm really one of those guys that really likes everything from, like 90s rap to country to, man, I can listen to some Edith Piaf or,
right.
Yeah, it's pretty stupid. My playlist, Spotify, is all across the board.
Yes, mine is exactly the same way. I'm like, I have everything from classical all the way up to hard rock. Like, you name it. Yeah. If there's like, I've got jazz in there. I've got
right. Yeah.
I had a young guy come on to a meeting yesterday, a Zoom meeting, and I had Pandora playing and Fleetwood Mac was playing. It was kind of real mellow. I was on the Pink Floyd channel. I don't know why Fleetwood Mac was playing, but they go, "What is that?"
You don't know.
You don't know? It's Fleetwood Mac, dude. Yeah, come on.
All you got to do is get them around and get them experienced. They will learn.
Yep. 100%. Yeah, I always think so. My mom named me after Annette Funicello, and I always can tell the age demographic of somebody when they, what's your name? I tell them, I say, hey, I was named after Annette Funicello, and they go, who? Okay, never mind.
Never mind. Next question.
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
Exactly. All right. So last question is, what is the best advice you have ever received, and from who?
Jeez, man, that's tough. That is really tough.
We got to make our questions easier, I guess.
No, I think this is great because this is relative and specific.
Man, I don't know. Honestly, to pinpoint one would be really tough.
What about one that helps you, like something that you live by?
Man, I always go back to the golden rule, and I don't know who taught me that first. I can't give great credit to that, but I would say probably my parents: do unto others that you'd have done unto yourself.
Absolutely. Abso-freaking-lutely.
Yeah.
Man,
that's a motto.
You've been awesome, Jason. I'm super happy that I got a chance to chat with you and meet with you, and we're just super grateful that you came on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. I really appreciate it.
We know you don't want to miss an episode, so don't forget to smash that bell so that you get notified of every new episode. Click that like button, leave us a comment, and share with your people. And visit us repeatedly. We love it.